discussed, Rabbi Yossi says in the Mishnah that a person who disowns something, is it immediately ownerless the moment you disown it? Or do you say no? When you disown something, you declare something ownerless, it remains the owner until the third party takes possession of it. So what's the halachic difference? If you say it's ownerless immediately, so let's say the person after he declares it to be ownerless, he changes his mind. It doesn't make a difference. Because once it leaves your domain, it's not yours anymore. Because if you want to repossess it, you have to physically take possession of it. But if you say that hefker is kematona, that it's yours until somebody takes possession, so before somebody takes possession, let's say it's a change of mind, correct? Just as I said, I'm going to give you a gift, and I say, I'm not going to give the gift. I say, you're welcome to take this as a gift. Then I change my mind before you take possession, so then I have a right. I have a right to retract. So if it's ownerless immediately, you can't retract. But if it's a question, you have a right to take, but until you take it, it's in the domain of the one who declared it ownerless. So the person, before somebody else takes possession, if he chooses to retract, he has a right to retract. That's what the Gemara said. That's the principle, according to Rabbi Yossi. Okay? No. We rule, even according to Rabbi Yossi, the Gemara comes out that when you declare something ownerless, it's ownerless immediately. Leaves your domain. Okay, let's see. Tanya. We're holding Mem Gimel Amid Beis. Last two lines. Tanya, we're learning the Brisa. Hamafke Sodeu Koshloshi Yomis. We mentioned yesterday. The halacha is, let's say during Shemitah, if the produce in Eretz Yisrael that you harvest, until it's tithed, you're not permitted to eat it. Now, what tithes they have to give? Truma you have to give to the Kohen. Because Meiser you don't have to give. Because anything which is ownerless, you have no chiyuv, you have no obligation to Meiser. What Torah says, why do you have to give Meiser to the Levi? Because he has no share in the land. So because he has no right to the produce, unless you give it to him, so therefore you have to give him his percentage. But what about if he has a right to the whole produce? It's ownerless. So because he has the right to the whole produce, therefore you have no obligation to give him that 10%. Okay? So let's say you had people, the person was dishonest. You know what he would do? He would declare his field ownerless with in mind that after he declares ownerless, he's going to repossess it. So if he repossesses it, what is he doing? He saves himself 10%. And the Chacham understood that. So he had these people who were dishonest. They would use the subterfuge. They'd say, it's ownerless. You know what they said? For 3 days after you declare it to be ownerless, the halacha is we see it as yours. Therefore, even if a third party would want to take it, possession, it's not considered a valid acquisition. Because we don't recognize your declaration within the first 3 days. After the first, if you stick to that declaration beyond 3 days, then it assumes an ownerless state. But within 3 days, it's considered yours. Now the question is, why? What's the reason? So that's what we discuss. Hamafke Sodeu, and when he said it's ownerless, he didn't set a time period. He says it's ownerless. Declared ownerless. Koshloshi Yom Yochel Larzabo. During the first 3 days after the declaration, the owner, the one who declared it ownerless, is able to retract. Why? Because we don't recognize his declaration within 3 days. Because we're concerned he may be dishonest, and he was only lip service, only to be able to circumvent and to extricate himself from the chiyuv, from the obligation, giving 10%. But after 3 days passes, since even the dishonest person would be afraid to leave it in an ownerless state beyond 3 days, so if he remains and he still maintains it's ownerless, then we say he really means what he said. Therefore, if a third party takes possession, it's the third party's. And therefore, the one who declared ownerless cannot retract any longer, right? It's clear. So if you're of the opinion that declaring something ownerless means it leaves your domain immediately. During the first 3 days, why doesn't it leave your domain? Because the Chacham say we don't trust you. If it goes beyond 3 days, why can't you retract? Because what does it mean to declare something ownerless? It's true, it's not yours any longer. So if it's not yours, even if you have a change of heart, it's not going to help you any. Because the moment you gave it away, it's gone. Okay, that's what it says. If it's beyond 3 days, you can't retract any longer. This is the beginning of the Brisa. Okay, we'll see the Ran inside, but that's the way the Ran explains it. During the first 3 days, because of Ramoyim, because of deceitful people, Chachamim say, since we question what your intent was, we don't recognize the declaration. So if you don't recognize the declaration, you could change your mind, and even if a third person should come within 3 days want to take possession, we say he can't take possession, because the declaration is not recognized as a declaration. After 3 days, that's when we begin recognizing the declaration. Therefore, now if a third party wants to take it, he can, and therefore, if you want to retract it, you can't retract it any longer, because now we recognize the declaration as being an authentic declaration. And what does hefker mean? It's ownerless. So if you already deemed it ownerless, how could you retract? You want to repossess it. But just by saying, I changed my mind, it doesn't mean anything. Okay? That's the ratio. That's the beginning of the Bryce. Now, the Bryce concludes. We're on Mem Daled. Oma teisodesu mufkeres liyom echad. Person says, he declares the field should be ownerless for 1 day. For 1 day. L'shabbos achas. It should be ownerless for a week. L'chodesh echad. It should be ownerless for a month. L'shana achas. For a year, it should be ownerless. L'shavua echad. For a sabbatical cycle. For 7 years, it should be ownerless. That's his declaration. Ad shelo zocha bo, bein hu bein achi yochel la'aseh bo. If a third party did not take possession, then Ad shelo zocha bo, bein hu bein achi yochel la'aseh bo. He could retract. Mishe zocha bo, but if once the person takes possession, bein hu bein achi yochel la'aseh bo. Ein yochel bo. He can't. So how do we differentiate? Not a sefer. Let's read the sefer. It says in the sefer, but if he declares it for a specific period of time, so we say, if the man is dishonest, he just declares it openly. It's ownerless. That's the ratio. That's the dishonor. If a person already sets a specific time, it's clear. We don't suspect he's a ramai. He's this deceitful person. So now the question, but it says here, if he declares it for a specific period of time, it says before a third party takes possession, then what is it? He could retract. The one who declared. But if not, he can't retract. If somebody took possession, it's too late. Somebody took possession. So the Gemara says, who's that going? That's Rabbi Yossi. Right? We said, what Rabbi Yossi holds that what is the declaration of hefker? It's like a gift. According to the Chachamim, the moment you declare something ownerless, it's ownerless. It's not yours any longer. According to Rabbi Yossi, what does it mean declaring something ownerless? What does that mean? It means it's still yours, but it means a third party has a right to take possession. But until the person takes possession, if you choose to retract, you can retract. And that's what the Sefer says. Right? Until the third party takes possession, bein hu bein acha, whether it's him or something, yochel azabo, he could retract. But if once the third party took possession, bein hu bein acha, and yochel azabo, the person can't retract any longer. So what do we say? Reisha Rabbanon. The Reisha is the Chachamim, because what does the Reisha say? After 3 days, you can't retract any longer. But according to Rabbi Yossi, why can't you retract? Right? If declaring something hefker is like a gift, and it's still yours, it only means the third party has a right to take possession. After 3 days, you should be able to retract too. So what is saying the ratio you can't retract? The answer is going like the Chachamim. The Chachamim, how do they understand hefker? The moment you make that declaration, it's no longer yours. So if it's no longer yours, you can't retract. The Sefer that says that you could retract until the third party takes possession, what does that mean? It's going like Rabbi Yossi, that when you declare something to be ownerless, it only means that the third party has a right to take possession, but until it takes possession, it's still in the possession of the one who declared it to be ownerless. Okay? So Reish Rabbana say for Rabbi Yossi. Okay? Omar Ula. That's what the one wants to say. Omar Ula. Ula says no. Sefer Nami Rabbanan. The Sefer is going like the Chachamim. So we have a problem. According to the Chacham, the moment you declare something ownerless, it's what? It leaves your domain. But it says in the Sefer, in the conclusion of the Brisa, that after you declare it ownerless, until the third party takes possession, what do we say? You could retract, but it's going like the Chachamim. How do you retract? That's the first question. Yossi, Ula says, so why, if that's the case, if it's going like the Chachamim, why are you able to retract even after the declaration? Shiny shana v'shua d'lo shchichi. He says, we'll see in a moment. We'll have to see the Ran inside. Let's see the Ran. We'll start on them dollar on the Ran on top. go through it quickly. Koso gedai techashto. Right now, at this point, the Gemara understands. Time to Rabbi Yossi, Dom Masdisen Rabbi Yochanan. Remember, we had an argument before. What does Rabbi Yochanan say? What does Rabbi Yossi say in the Mishnah? It says a person says, "I will not benefit from a third party." Right? So it says. So the Mishnah says, "What do you do?" So it says you declare it to be ownerless, and you put it down on the stone. You let the man take it. Of course, he made it net. He's not going to benefit from you, but the man needs the food, so you declare it ownerless. Rabbi Yossi says you can't do that. You're not permitted. So the Gemara said, what's the machlokes? Why does Rabbi Yossi argue with the Tanakamas? It says, because Rabbi Yossi holds that when you declare something owned, it's like a gift. So when he takes it off the stone, whose item is he taking? He's taking the item of the person that he said he will not benefit from. That's where Rabbi Yossi says you're not permitted. So the Gemara asked on Rabbi Yochanan, refuted Rabbi Yochanan. So the Gemara concluded, no, Rabbi Yossi agrees, hefker it's ownerless immediately. That's what. But why can't you do it? Because Rabbi Yossi holds it's matnas beischorim. Because the story with the wedding, where a man, his father said, "I will not benefit from you," and then after he wanted to invite his father to the wedding, so he went and gave the whole wedding party. He gave it to a third party, and then the third party went and consecrated everything. So if that's the case, he wasn't able to have a wedding. So the man says, "I only meant it so my father should come." So because there was a lack of sincerity there, the man really didn't mean to give the gift. Therefore, that's the reason. Same thing here. Why is he putting it on the stone? Is he really mean when he says it's hefker? He's not really, doesn't want to be ownerless. He wants the man to be able to take it. So we're concerned when he said ownerless, it may not be ownerless. So if he's not sincere when he said it should be ownerless, when the man takes possession of it, whose item is he taking possession of? His. But it's a violation of the netter. That's Rabbi Yossi. That's Rabbi Yossi argues. Everybody agrees in principle. What is hefker? The moment you declare it to be hefker, it's ownerless. The argument is, are we questioning his sincerity? Rabbi Yossi questions his sincerity. The Chacham don't question his sincerity. When he says it should be ownerless, he means it should be ownerless. Therefore, the person is able to take it. But right now, when the Gemara says the Reish is the Rabbanon, the Seif is Rabbi Yossi, we're going according to the Havmina. The Rabbi Yochanan held, the Rabbi Yossi holds, understands the mechanics of hefker is, it's not ownerless immediately, but rather it's in the possession of the gifter until the third party takes possession. Okay? That's the run. The hefker kimatona. When you declare something ownerless, it's like a gift. That until the one who takes possession, it's still in the domain of the one who declared it ownerless. Shemochi Komer Reisha Rabbanon. The Sefer Rabbi Yossi, Kula Brisa, Shabbos. The Brisa works out perfect. The Reisha, Ketoni, Kol Shloshi Yomim, Yochel Azor. During the first 3 days, why could the owner retract, the one who declared to be ownerless? Neharamoyim, Kapirishis. Because we suspect the man's sincerity, because the man's dishonest. He's only declared to be ownerless because he wants to save on the 10%, not to give Maisa to the Levi. Kan Velech Yochel Azor. Midino tzvile the rabbanon, the hefker, miidno, the afkare, because the chamo, from the moment the person declares it to be ownerless, mafker, nafkle mushuse, the moment he declares it ownerless, it leaves his domain. The seifo ktoni, the moment teisodusum of keres liomechot, but if he puts a time limit on it, chaygavno leko lemech shlemamon. We're not concerned maybe the man's dishonest. Why? The dati biidno the afkare lahoder of liski beg, louder, because if the intent of the one who declared to be ownerless, he meant to repossess it immediately. Lomali lafkiru lizman yudua. What does he have to say specific for a day or a week or a month? Let him say it's just ownerless. Lafkare legamri, the cave of the daite lemheder lemiski bay lo nafkare midi elavade laosas man shifkiro gomar umafkir. Meaning for the time period that he said it should be hefker, he means it. Below haroma klal ufigoch mishazocha bein hu bein acher and yochel achzabo. So therefore, when the third person makes possession, he has the right to take possession immediately. But what does it say? It says in the Sefer, but until the third party takes possession, the man who declared it ownerless is able to retract. So if he's able to retract, can't go like the Chachomim, because if he declared it ownerless, it leaves his domain immediately. How could he retract? Evidently, you have to see it's going like Rabbi Yossi, because when you declare something to be ownerless, it doesn't leave your domain immediately. It only means the third party has a right to take possession. Rabbi Yossi, Abonon, because Kornet Chacham came now in the Amri, the Nobru Shusei, Heichoch Lazabo. Let's stop for a moment. There's a famous argument. The Torah speaks about Yush. Above Mitzvah we speak. A person loses he loses something, and he despairs that he'll ever locate it, and a third party finds it. What's the halacha? He's permitted to take it, right? You find a lost article. If the owner who lost it is a Jew, didn't despair, there's a mitzvah saseh. You must return it to the rightful owner if he's a Jew. And if you turn a blind eye, you're in violation of a lav. It says, do not turn a blind eye. You have an obligation to take it, to seek out the owner. What about if the owner despaired? Right? When you found that he already despaired, then the halacha is you have no obligation to return it. You can even take possession of it. You have a right to keep it. It's called yush. Yush means despair. You learned Elam and Tziyas when you were a kid, okay? Okay? So he despairs. Now, when a person despairs, and you say a third party has a right to take it, what exactly is the financial status of that item? Is it ownerless immediately? Or it still belongs to the one who lost it, but it only means the third party has a right to take it? You hear the question? So there's a famous Ketzos, the Ketzos HaChoshim, it's one of the commentators on Chosh Mishra. It says that Yush is like a gift. Yush means it belongs to the one who lost it, because if he lost it, if he declares something ownerless, hefker, so it's understood according to the way we rule. You've given up all your rights. It's no longer mine. When a person despairs, is he saying it's no longer mine? It's a state of despair. The Torah says when a person has a state of despair, you have a right to possess it. Although it's his item, you have a right to take possession, although it's still his. So it's similar to what we're saying now. It's like kimaton. It's like a gift. If I allow you to take a gift, I offer you a gift. You have a right, until I change my mind, you have a right to take possession as a gift. What about before you take possession, I change my mind? Then you can't take possession. So let's say a person despairs. That means anybody who finds it has a right to possession. What happens before the person takes possession? The owner relocates it, and he sees it from a distance. So if he sees it at a distance, he's no longer in a state of despair. You're only permitted to take possession only if the one who lost it is in a state of despair. But if he's no longer in a state of despair, then you have no right to take it. Right? So we're saying in Rabbi Yossi over here that hefker is like a gift. That's the way, in reality, we learned that's the concept of yush. Yush is not a declaration. Yush is a state of feeling, it's a state of mind. I've given up. I've despaired. Okay? We have to discover what is the state of the item. The state of the item is the third party has a right to take possession. But whose is it until it takes possession? It belongs to the one who lost it. So therefore, if you should relocate it before a third party takes possession, and he's no longer in a state of despair, then now a third party comes, he can't take possession. Because it's still in the domain, and never left the domain of the one who lost it. Okay? It's clear. I see you didn't have much sleep last night. Okay. Ve'eno chinami. The chitoner Rabbi Yossi achlo zocha b'meinu bein achi yochel lazabo lav davke behefker shul zman kigavne de sefer. Lav, right? Dafilu behefker olomis dainu reishi yochel lazabo achlo zocha. Rabbi Yossi holds even if you made a permanent declaration. Rabbi Yossi's understanding of hefker is what? That until the third party takes possession, the owner could recoup it. Miu bishum de bedino de mishrocha bo eni yochel lazabo. Lo shavu hefker shu nosin lizman im hefker olomis kedi ksiv nevit shul misni yom echad the Shabbos achas tonanami kai gavd achlo zochabo. Now, he's saying the only differentiation we'll make, if a person makes a general statement, it's ownerless, because we're concerned the man may be dishonest. For 3 days, we don't recognize your declaration. Everybody agrees. So therefore, the owner could retract. Why could he retract? Even according to the Chachamim. Because the statement is not a valid statement. We're arguing, the Chachamim argue Rabbi Yossi. If he means what he says, what does it mean? What does it mean, hefker? So that we have an argument. Rabbi Yossi says it means one thing, the Chachamim says it. But let's say even when you say the words, you don't even mean what you're saying. Everybody agrees it means nothing. Everybody agrees that it's yours. Right? Let's say a person would say like this. What I'm going to say now, it's hefker, I don't mean what I'm saying. let's see, predicates that on that. And he says, it's hefker. So what does that mean? It means nothing. Because when he said hefker, he said, before he said hefker, when I say hefker, I don't mean what I'm saying. The first 3 days after a general declaration of hefker, because of the Ramoim, because of dishonest people, we don't trust the integrity of a person. So the first 3 days, what's its status? It's still yours. It's as if you said nothing. You go beyond 3 days, now we recognize what you said. So what is it after 3 days? You can't retract. Why can't you retract? The answer is because the Chachamim say, what is the declaration of hefker? It's no longer yours. So 3 days pass, and now we recognize the declaration of hefker to be sincere. But what does hefker mean according to the Chachamim? It means it's gone forever. It's gone. So you want it to be yours, you have to repossess it. So if a third party preempts the owner, original owner, to possess, it's his. No, I'm saying even though the halacha we rule hefker is it's ownerless, but yush, where it's not a declaration, it's just a state of mind and feeling. Yush is what we want, what Rabbi Yossi says in hefker. Even though we rule hefker. Exactly. So therefore, let's say you locate it and you're no longer in a state of despair, now it becomes yours. It's yours. Now a third party can't take possession. Because the third party can only take possession when you're in a state of despair. So if you stop despairing, because you relocated it. So the third party can't take possession. But if you would say Yush is hefker, when you despair, it deems it ownerless, so it's irrelevant if you relocated it. That's the point I brought out. Okay? So the Rambam said something interesting. And it says in the Brisa, according to the Sefer, it says if a person says a day, a week, a month, a year, whatever he said, we say that it's in the possession of the owner until he or third party takes possession. So third party makes sense. What about until he takes possession? We're saying, according to it's yours. How could you say if you take possession? You take possession of something that's yours. That's going to be the Ran's question. No, because it has halachic ramifications. Hefker means, what does hefker mean? A third party has a right to take possession. If it's hefker, everybody agrees, you don't have to give meiser. Right? So even Rabbi Yossi says it's like a gift. He declares something to be hefker. And now somebody takes possession. Does he have to give meiser for that grain? No. Why? Because even the Levi could have taken possession of that grain or that produce. What about if he himself takes possession, repossesses it? Even it says he's also potter. So Rane, what do you mean? How could you be potter? I mean, you're taking what's you. It never left your domain. A third party say it was never his. So when he takes possession, it becomes his. But the original owner, what do you mean when he takes possession? You take possession of something that was always yours. So what does it mean take? That's the Ran's question. So Ran said it doesn't make a difference. Factually, until you do that act of taking possession, a third party has a right to take it. So when you go and you recoup it, what are you actually doing? The original hefker is not relevant any longer because you did a new act of acquisition, even though factually it never left your domain. You put for meiser. That the Ran was I'm going to bring up an interesting case. Viele Rabbi Yossi put him in a meiser. You put your himself in meiser. Hechi asher le shabbat or keva the Viele Rabbi Yossi hefka adoslu shezocher lo nafrishus mafki. He's asking, according to Rabbi Yossi, when you declare something ownerless, if it never left the domain of the one who declared it ownerless, what do you mean if he takes possession? He never left it. It never. Nimtzor techihoda zochi beimididei ko zochi. Lo me'afkero. He's taking possession of zone. He's not taking possession of something that's hefker. The lolam lo nafkin rishusei. It never left his domain. That's the Ran's question. So Ran says, Efshel Loma, did he duksav Rabbi Yossi ad oslu shuzocher? Lo nobr shus mafkir. He says, even though it's true, he says, until a third party takes possession, it never left the domain of the one who made the declaration, it should be ownerless. Just as if a third party would take possession, there's no question. He doesn't have to give meiser. Because that's called, he took possession from something that was hefker. V'lo mi matona. And it's not called somebody gifted it to you. Why? Because we say since a third party, the Levi, also could have taken possession. That's why the third party is absolved from giving Meiser. He says it's no longer Hefker. What is he saying? It's not he's saying I'm retracting. He's not saying I'm retracting. He's saying I'm possessing something which everybody has a right to take. So even though in the factual, in the physical, in the acquisition, it's not a new acquisition, but what is he doing? It's not a retraction. He's doing a new act of acquisition that a third party can't take it any longer. Let's stop for a moment. Years ago, I heard this Shiloh, going back 49 years ago. So the Shiloh was like this. We said, Yush, what is despair? Even though the conclusion of the Gemara is everybody agrees, when you declare something ownless, what's its state? It has no owner. Even Rabbi Yossi agrees. Right? But Yush, when you despair, what's its state? What's its monetary state? It belongs to the owner. The Torah says until somebody takes possession, it's still in the domain of the owner. Yush allows a third party to take possession. That's what Yush is. Okay? So there's a sefer. It's called. It was written by the brother of the Ketzos. He has a Shiloh. So let's say what would be a third party goes and damages that item. He damages it. Is it considered a damager? If I go and damage your item, I'm a damager. I have an obligation to make restitution. I have to pay you for the value of the damage. Let's say a person says, I have no interest in taking possession of an item that so-and-so despaired, but I choose to destroy it. Is there a liability of damages to the one who lost it? Because when he damaged it or destroyed it, it was still in the possession of the one who lost it. It is Shiloh. What would you say, logically?
It depends. If by damaging it, he's demonstrating his possession or control over it, he wouldn't be damaged.
No, he never took possession. No,
Then
factually. When a person...
damages to the person who's demanding.
I despair. We say, when a person despairs, it remains the one who lost it, but it means a third party has a right to take possession. Okay? Now, a person says, something, I choose not to take possession. But you know something? I'm going to just destroy it. Right? So whose item is he destroying? According to our understanding of Yush. It's the item of the one who lost it. So if it's the item of the one who lost it, seemingly you should have liability. Right? Because it's still his. And the Trumas Akri, who's the brother, so says, you are. So by Mashgiach, I remember he said he takes issue with it. He says if you have a right to possess it, logically it doesn't make sense that you'd have liability if you damage it. Torah says you have a right to take possession. Even though it says you have a right to take possession, so I have a right to take possession. Now that I destroy it, I should be considered a damager. I could have taken it all myself. Torah allowed me to take it. It's totally illogical to say if you choose not to take possession, the damage, you should have a liability of damage. That's what my Mashgiach said. But I think we have a proof from this Ran over here. We have a proof from the Ran. The Ran says that according to Rabbi Yossi, if somebody declares something ownerless, a third party takes possession, he doesn't have to give Meiser. What about if the person himself takes possession? It's not he retracted his declaration. He came to take possession like a third party took possession. It says he doesn't have to give Meiser. He says, why? If he retracts from his statement, he has to give Meiser on that produce. But if he doesn't retract, he takes possession, then he's absolved. I said, but either way, it never left your domain. Because when you did the act of acquisition of taking possession, it was yours before, it's still yours. What changed? He says something did change. Because before you took possession, a third party could take possession. Once that you took possession yourself now of it, and you wanted to acquire it, a third party can't take possession. So therefore, that's the difference. If I declare something ownerless and I say, I changed my mind, according to Rabbi Yossi, the owner of that produce has to give Meiser. But if I don't, I never said I retract what I said. He does a physical act of repossessing it. So he says that's no different than the third party take possession. Even though factually, in the actual ownership, it never transferred out. Never transferred out of his domain. It doesn't make a difference. Because it affected it in a way that a third party can't take possession, you're no worse than the third party. That's what he says. No, it's in your possession. Only means a third party has a right to take it. Why that? No, he didn't forget about it. He gave up hope that he'll ever find it. Again, if you own something, you have innate rights in the object, right? How did you lose your rights? How did you lose your rights? No, you didn't lose your rights. That's the way they're learning. Until it was no. If I declare something to be ownerless, that means I'm giving up my rights. The man never gave up his rights. He's in a state of despair because he figures he gave up hope that he's never ever going to find it again. But originally he did own it. So the ownership rights he had originally in it, what happened to those ownership rights? So they understand the ownership remain in the object. Except the Torah is saying, if somebody should find it, he has a right to take possession, because the original owner is not opposed that a third party should not take possession, because he gave up. When does a person's rights interfere with somebody else taking possession? That's only because I want to recoup my rights. Here the man, in his mindset, he's not recouping rights here. He's despaired of ever locating it. Therefore, it's yours until the third party takes possession. It may not have value. No. But whose item is he taking possession of? Is it an ownerless item or not an ownerless item? No. So that's what I'm saying. The Achronim will learn that it's not an ownerless item. The item still belongs to the original owner, except the Torah allows you to take possession of the item, although it's still the person's. No. Once you take possession, it's yours. You can do what you want. You can burn it. You can destroy it. It's your item. Do what you want. The question is, let's say a person chooses not to take possession, and you choose to destroy it. Are you considered a damager? Do you have liability for being a damager? That's the discussion we're talking about. So, no. So this certain sefer says, yes, you are a damager, because he damaged the other person's property. Because he still owns it. My mashgiach said no, but it doesn't make any sense. It's totally logical. If I could take the whole item for myself, and there's no liability, so if I choose to damage it, why should I have liability? That's what he said. I'm just saying, from here, maybe you see something, bring a proof to one side of the issue. That's all. Okay. So, miu milsa de tmiu hechi doka lotana libe de tre tanoi. Yeah, but it's so different. We have one brisa. We say the ratio is going like one tana. The same is going like another tana. We don't find such a thing. The same brisa. She says, therefore, Ula, he chooses to argue. Let's see. Omar Ula, safe and nami rabbonadi. Ula holds the safest. The whole thing's going like the chachomim. Why? Somebody asks, but it says, when a person declares something ownerless for a week, a month, a year, until the third party takes possession, he could retract. But according to the Chacham, we just finished saying, what is hefker? It's no longer yours. So if it's no longer yours, how could you retract? Shiny shana shavuot lo shchichi. Let's see the Mishnah. Let's see the Ran. Ula omer asay v'nam rabbonim v'tayim v'da'at shlo zochel v'bein hu v'nach yochel la'asov mishum d'shayni shavuot shavuot shchichon klomet lo shchich t'mafkri inshi b'chay gavno v'kevon. One second. V'kevon sheshino. זה עמדין דייטי, כאב של רוץ להפקיר הפקר עולם, אגד גבי אפילו בוס הזמן שהפקירו לו נחלד לפן ושוסי עד זוכי באידוך. היל ספיר לרבונת בהפקר שול הזמן, מרי ספיר לרביוס בהפקר עולמס, ואז איפה שבת רבן can move rubber. She's saying something interesting. When a person wants to declare something ownerless, how do you normally declare it ownerless? You say it should be ownerless. Whoever heard us declare something ownerless for a day or for a month? You know what he means to say? When a man says that, he doesn't mean it should be ownerless. Ownerless, according to the Chum, what does ownerless mean? I'm no longer the owner. So if you no longer don't say it's ownerless. What do you mean to be ownerless for a day? You know what he means to say? He means to say it's for a day. Anybody who wants to take possession of my item, he has a right. Even though he used the word hefker, he doesn't mean hefker, Because if you really meant hefker, how does a person normally disown something? Forever you disown it. It's ownerless. What do you say for a day, for a week, for a month? The answer is people have a right to take possession of my item for a month. It's a right. So if that's the case, it's very good. So until somebody takes possession, within the month, within the day, within the week, he has a right to retract. So the Chacham are not going back on their understanding. Hefker means hefker. Hefker means, if you mean what you said, hefker means ownerless. You can't retract once you deem it ownerless. But if a person deems something ownerless for a day or a week or a month, where a person normally doesn't deem something ownerless in that context, so what did he mean? Although he used the word ownerless, what did he mean to say? He meant to say somebody has a right to take possession within the month. So let's say he changes his mind within the month, the person can't take possession any longer. Because he never really, when he said hefker, he never meant hefker. Okay? Get back to the Gemara. Reish Lakish Omar. Reish Lakish says differently. So according to the first interpretation, the Reish is the Chacham, the Seif is Rabbi Yossi. According to Uli, says no, the Reish is the Chachamim, the Seif is the Chachamim. Reish Lakish Omar. Reish Lakish says differently. With the Seif Rabbi Yossi, as we proved from the Seif is going to Rabbi Yossi, that when a person disowns something, it's his till it leaves his domain. Reishanami Rabbi Yossi. Now we have a problem. Because what does it say in the Reisha? It says for 3 days, you can retract. After 3 days, you can't retract any longer. So if it's going like Rabbi Yossi, that's what we originally said it's going like the Chachamim. If it's going like Rabbi Yossi, that when you declare something to be hefker, it's yours until somebody takes possession. So why after 3 days, it says in the Reisha, you can't retract? That's Reish Lakish has come to explain. Reish Lakish Omar, Sefer Rabbi Yossi, Reish Nami Rabbi Yossi. So Reish I knew time below the Shtakach Torah Sefker. Because you know why? On a Torah level, after 3 days, you could also retract, according to Rabbi Yossi. But if you allow the person to retract after 3 days, and it comes out, the whole concept of hefker has no relevance any longer. Yeah. So Rashi said, Reish Lakish Sefer Rabbi Yossi, the Klashlochi Yochel Lachshloshi Amayin Yochel Lachzer, and time it Lushtak Torah Sef Klom Ein Hochinami, the Midino Rabbi Yossi Afilach Shloshi Yochel Lachzer. After 3 days, according to Rabbi Yossi, the person could retract. Elo Hainu Taimo, the Amrina and Hochi, because if you're going to say the Osil Meimet Chilo Choza Bo Nami, Zochbo Acher Lo Mefkeru Kozochi, came the Bekami the Liskibe Ho Yochel Mafke Lachzabo, Am Berushuse Avikoy, V'nib She'im Ze Zochem Nehefker. Elam Mekabel Maton, Xavadim Chai B'Meiser. He was saying something phenomenal. If I give you a gift, I give you a gift. Do you have to take Meiser from the gift? I give you a bushel of wheat. I harvested my bushel, I give you a bushel of wheat. I gave you the bushel. Do you have to take Meiser? The answer is yes. Because it was a gift. Something has to be hefker. If something is ownerless and everybody is able to take it, then what? Then you're absolved from Meiser. Okay? Now, if we say during the first 3 days, according to Rabbi Yossi, when you declare something to be hefker, it's yours till a third party takes possession. We say the first 3 days, why we say you could retract and nobody can take possession. Because we're concerned that the person, when he said it should be hefker, he was dishonest. It was only a subterfuge to absolve himself from Meiser, because he didn't mean it. So we asked, after 3 days, why could you retract? It says after 3 days you can't retract. It's going like Rabbi Yossi, that hefker is like a gift, you should be able to retract after 3 days. You know what the answer is? If you allow a person to retract after 3 days, you know what people are going to say? Why after 3 days? But after 3 days, if somebody takes possession, he doesn't have to give Meiser. You know what people are going to say? If you give a gift, the receiver of the gift doesn't have to take Meiser from a gift, but it's not true. Here, the reason why you don't, because it's a gift to everybody. Because everybody can take. But when you give a gift to an individual, that's individualized, then you have to take Meiser. Because what's the rationale? The rationale is every Levi could take possession like any other Jew could take possession. Why do you give the Meiser to the Levi? Because he has no share in the land. But let's say he has equal rights to the harvest as every other Jew. There's no reason to give him Meiser. He can take the whole thing himself. So let's say we say after 3 days I could retract. So that means when a person takes possession, what is he doing? In fact, it's like I'm gifting it to him. He's taking possession of mine. You know what people say? People say, so that's the case. We see over here, when you receive a gift, you don't have to give Meiser. That's what people are going to come to say, which is a problem, because it's not true. If you give an individualized gift, you have to take Maisa from the gift. Because that gift is not available to the Levi. It's only by Hefker, it has a semblance of a gift. Of course, it's the one who declared it to be Hefker, it's his, until a third party takes possession. Therefore, the Chachomim, to cover this mistake, this misunderstanding, say after 3 days, even if you choose to retract, even Rabbi Yossi agrees you can't retract. Even Rabbi Yossi agrees you can't retract. Because otherwise, it creates problems. Because people are going to confuse one with the other. That's the way the Ran's explained the Gemara. Now, let's say you have some grain which you're obligated to tithe on a Torah level. On a Torah level. And this person believes over here he has to tithe it. Now, second. The cave of the Kavani Liski Bay Ochel Mafki Alasabo, Amnu Shuse Abukoi, Venimtso Shame Bozochi Now, factually, if we say, let's say, after 3 days he could retract, the person who receives that, what is he going to say? He's going to say it's a gift. He'll take Meiser. The reality, does he have to take Meiser? He doesn't have to take Meiser. If he takes Meiser, what kind of Meiser is that? It's not even. It's rabbinic Meiser at best. The Torah says you don't have to take Meiser because the Levi has a right to take that. So that's rabbinic Meiser. Now, let's say he has other grain that on the Torah level you have to take Meiser. Let's say I have 2 harvests, and both harvests, grain from field 1, grain from field B. Both grains on the Torah level, they both have to be tithed. And you want to take the percentage from one on the other. Is it a valid tithing? Yes, right? Because both equally have to be tithed on the Torah level. So let's say you have to take 10%. I have 2 fields. I have 100 bushels from one field, 100 bushels from the other field. And I'm going to take 20 bushels from field A, an additional 10 to cover field B. Is it valid? It's valid, right? Because percentage-wise, I took 10% of the harvest. I have 200 bushels. I gave 10%. But let's say field A, the person was mafkir. He disowned it. And a person believes, and I say the person could even retract after 3 days. And he says, you know something, but it's a gift I have to take and he takes Maisa from field A. Right? He has no obligation to take Maisa field A. Because every Levi has a right to take possession of that. But he himself, what is he going to believe? If somebody gives me a gift, I have to take Meiser, so there's no different than a gift. Because when I took possession, whose harvest did I take possession of? It was Reuven's harvest. According to Rabbi Yossi's understanding. So you know what will happen? We have a problem now. What happens is now the person is, I'm obligated to take Meiser from field A and field B. He'll take from one field on the other. But it's not a valid tithing. Because field A has no obligation. Field B, you have a Torah obligation. If everything's equal, you can take one on the other. But this is in this man's limited mind, not understanding what the reality is. He'll believe field A, he's obligated to tithe because it's no different. If I would give him a personal gift, does he have to tithe? The answer is yes. So he says, what? So when I take it from the field, according to Rabbi Yossi, if he could retract, so it's like a gift, he'll take Meiser. But he takes Meiser, we're creating a problem. Because what happens, he'll take from one field on the other. And he'll think it's a valid tithing, but it's not valid. Because field A, he has no obligation. Field B, he has a bona fide obligation on a Torah level. So you know what the Chacham did to straighten this all out? After 3 days, the owner cannot retract. On a Torah level, although he could retract, rabbinically, we don't allow you to retract. So if I don't allow you to retract, what happens? That means the person doesn't see it as a gift. So if he doesn't see it, he's not going to take Meiser. Right? He sees it's really ownerless. So he's not going to, there's no confusion. He's going to take from field B on field A, or vice versa. Because this is bona fide hefker. This has no relevance to a gift. So the Chachomim, to avoid this problem, although according to Rabbi Yosef at Torah level, you can retract, in this situation, You cannot. California. Hello? Such a waste of time. Surveys. Okay. Just let's read it. V'dilma osil asur min achiv al aptur min aptur achiv damni ki maseres asim minei. So now the Gemara has a problem. Yeah. Okay. So he's saying lo chitikun shlach shlosh yom lo yeyochel lachzer bo kedei hechad midrabanon levi hefker. We'll stop here. Okay. Okay. Pace to go slow.